Too realistic, bro. Okay, sorry. That was a good name for you to use. Oh my god.
That's how they go, man. That's how it goes. And it's someone. Hey, when you get out, man, if you need anything, you hit me up. We'll find something.
The next thing you know, you're doing a 15-piece, 20-piece, or life. I've seen it time and time again. You know how many lifers in there have had so many chances, dude? It's sad. It's sad. There's dudes in there that have been in there for 35 years. And let me tell you, I've said this before. I have firsthand experience of talking to men that have been in prison for 25, 30, 50 even years. They would not commit a crime if they were released. You know what I mean? 35 years, 40 years. Judges have no sensitivity to this. And I'm not sitting here saying let's be sensitive on criminals now. This man had his chance, and he knew the fucking law. And he knew he was going to go to prison for life if he got caught. Hands down, he deserves it, right? I will say that hands down. He knew the consequences, and he did it anyways. 45 years later, he doesn't want to do any more crime. He wants to go out and watch the sunset. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, it's a little bit too late. In reference to what you were saying about, you know, security versus liberty, right? We also have another flip side. Think about the Nicholas Cruz case, man. That one really irked me. That one really, really fucking got under my skin. That dude posted on multiple social media accounts with his real name what he was going to do.
Yeah,
but they're trying to pretend as though there's some. What's the movie where they arrest people beforehand? What's it called again? People use
Minority Report.
Thank you, Minority Report. They Minority Report my case like there's some kind of motherfucking mind-reading superheroes. But Nicholas Cruz is literally bragging on the internet with his real name and his real face. I'm over here. My name is Paul Gilbert on RuneScape because he's my favorite guitar player. And I'm talking about fire capes, video games, and magic and potions and knights. And then all of a sudden I make this threat and go back to talking about the game. And I went to prison for it. But Nicholas Cruz is over here. Killed a bunch of people. What the fuck? And then there was another guy
who they want.
When I was in rehab, so this would be, you know, I was mandatory sent to rehab as part of my probation when I first started it. This would be early 2019, I believe. There was that guy that got caught before he shot up a school. He went in there with the interview with the cops. I saw this on the news, and they were like, you know, did you mean it? You said these threats, you had these guns, and he said, yeah. I mean, I just was picturing it, man. I was just going to run in and just squeeze until it stopped going bang. You know, I just wanted to just shoot it at as many people as I could. They put the kid in counseling, and like, fucking, this dude had guns and drawings, and this dude was going to go murder people. This guy was going to go murder children. He didn't even get like any actual charges because basically, I guess because he confessed. I don't fucking know. But I went to prison for 6 years. One more reminder real quick. Like, I'm good about it now. You know, I got out and everything worked out. But dude, can we get some consistency in the feds? Can you guys not look like fucking clowns? Is there any way to make your institution not look like evil, horrific, bumbling clowns? I don't think so.
And no, they're a horror show, man. And the way prosecution and even the way investigation is done, like, because you can't let the police off of their involvement in this stuff. The way that questioning, interrogation, and stuff goes, and gosh, this came up in the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. It was such a great moment for anybody who cares about like improper prosecutions. When the cops went to go visit Amber Heard, right? Like, they got the phone call and they show up, and on the body cam, they go in and talk, and they're talking to one of the cops on his deposition testimony, and they said, "Were you looking for evidence of a felony?" I think it was a female, and she says, "Yeah, we are always looking for evidence of a felony. Always, 100% of the time that a cop is on duty, they are looking for evidence of a felony." And that is the most critical thing to understand, is that their job is not to solve crimes. Their job is to find evidence of guilt.
Numbers.
You call them. I live in New York, so like obviously they're very, very aggressive. The first thing they do is like, is this a domestic case? So that way I can handle it right now and just leave and go handle something else. That's the first thing they think of. It's the first thing they look for. And honestly, if they sat there and they didn't see anything within the 15 minutes that was proven that they were there, or the 30 minutes that they said they were there,
right?
In all honesty, who the fuck knows how long they were there? Cameras can be changed and edited. Who the fuck cares? Obviously, there was nothing.
Yep.
If a woman has bruises on her, regardless of what she says at that second, they will take the person that caused the bruises. I'm sorry, they don't listen to somebody who sees that they have bruises. Even if they're not going to press charges, the state will fucking press charges. It's not complicated. And the fact that they didn't shows the fact that there wasn't fucking anything.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, absence of evidence, right? I mean, we discussed that earlier. It's exactly what it comes back to. They can't. If nothing happened, then that means there's no fucking evidence. So, this is random. I think somebody mentioned this in the chat earlier. But have any of you guys seen The Staircase by chance on Netflix, or are you familiar with the?
I've seen parts of it. I have not seen all of it, but
Michael Peterson was an author, and he when he was in like I guess the 80s or something, he was living in a house, and a lady fell down the stairs and died, and he was like the only one in the house, right? Well, 20 some odd years later, 15 years later, whatever it is, his wife did the same thing, and it became a major murder case. And let me tell you, the evil in those prosecutors' eyes, man. How do they sleep at night, bro? I just cannot. I cannot fathom getting up there and doing the things that they did to me and what they did to this man. How do you get up there with a person that you've never met? That man got up there. He ain't never looked me in the eyes. This man never spoke a word to me, this lead prosecutor. He didn't know a damn thing about me except what he wanted to believe. And he got up there and told my life story wrong. This dude didn't know a bitch thing about me, you know. I don't know. I don't know how they sleep at night. Straight up lie. And, you know, and what really kills me is the stupid stuff. They set it up like he had a murder weapon, right? Oh, this thing went missing. He had this blow poke. You know, he had this thing for his fireplace, and it's missing now. So he bashed her on the head with it. Well, they ended up finding it. Yeah. Three-quarters of the way through the fucking trial, but they found it. It was rusty, spider webs, no blood. Clearly had not been used in a murder. You know what? What does the prosecution do when they come out with this bombshell evidence, bro? Bombshell evidence. I mean, come on. Their whole crux of their case was this missing fucking blow poke. He comes out with the blow poke. They prove it was the one. And prosecutor gets up and he's like, "Now I'm just saying, do you, as a cross-examination, do you believe that this could be fake?" And the fucking the manufacturer expert or whatever looked at him like, "Huh?" And he was like, "I'm just saying this could be fabricated, right?" And he was like, "I mean, this is exactly, they stopped making these things fucking 15 years ago. Unless he's got, you know, a home system to weld and to, you know, core out the steel and like routing machines. No, it's basically impossible to fake it." And he goes, "But it is possible." And they were like, "Yeah,
I guess."
I mean, like, is it possible for someone on Earth to replicate this thing? Yes, it is. It technically is. And put fake spider. I mean, yes, that's technically possible. And the prosecutors are like, see, bitches, it's fake. Yep. See, motherfucker. Dude, that's the whole crux of your argument. I can't
not even proving that it had been a replica or any evidence that it has been fabricated, just that it could be fabricated.
Exactly. And guess what, guys? Guess what? So, Nick, I'll let Nick say. Nick, what is the standard for being found guilty of murder?
Beyond any reasonable doubt.
Any reasonable doubt. That man got found guilty. That man got found guilty over that bitch-ass prosecutor standing up and saying, "Is it possible that some human on Earth somewhere could have made a fake one?" How do you sleep? How do you sleep? How do you convince yourself you're a good person? Their eyes had blackness in them, man. I consider myself to be a compassionate person. I think you can tell a lot about people by their eyes and the gaze and the way that they look at you. It's hard for them to hide it, and it's just that like mean animalistic side. I hate you and I want you in prison. Like I don't get it. Where's that animosity? Where's that hatred coming from? It's evil, man.
Just playing devil's advocate a little bit in that sense. Like, think of it this way. The people that convicted Stephen Avery the first time and the second time probably were about the same people. Whether or not it was every single lawyer was the same, who the fuck really cares? Doesn't really matter. He was convicted twice. Once he was freed, and obviously this time he's probably not going to be. After the first time, they look like pieces of shit because they wrongfully accused him the first time. Regardless of the truth the second time. If there's proof and evidence showing one way, you're going to look that way. Whether or not you're innocent in looking that way is completely irrelevant to if you are genuinely a good or bad person.
I agree.
Yeah.
You could be a great person and just be like, well, it shows this. And that's what I'm being asked.
Josh,
does it show this? And that's the answer.
I really think the prosecutors just give themselves plausible deniability by being, this is my job. My job is to show them as guilty as I possibly can, even if I personally don't believe that they are.
I just cannot imagine being in the field of law and not having morals. I can't imagine it. This is a system that has to be founded on morals, is it not? Is that not what the spirit of the law really comes down to? Is morals and affecting other people?
It is, and again, it's triply bad when it's the state, doing it. You know, you can expect like a civil attorneys to zealously advocate for their clients. That makes sense. My client is in the right in this situation. When you get into the criminal aspect of this. You have the state. The state gets all of the benefits of how they conduct their trial. They work next to these judges. They work with the judges all the time.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, in and out of court. And the penalty for it is a deprivation of liberty or even life at times. But
exactly.
I wanted to tell a quick story about how this impacts someone else in the real world. Exactly what you're talking about. Almost the same scenario. I had a client who was charged with just the lowest level felony possession charge you could have in Minnesota for marijuana, right? So he's got some marijuana, and so he gets felony possession charge because it's more than 44.5 grams of marijuana, which comes out to it comes out to like about an ounce. If you have more than an ounce, then it's felony level. If you have less than an ounce, effectively it's or maybe it's a half ounce. I don't remember the conversion.
That's like 2 ounces.
Yeah. Okay, is that what that is? Okay, yeah. Wherever the conversion is, but it's 44.5 grams, and so that was the charge. But the scenario is this: his house burns to the ground. Whole house fire. His house 115 years old, dry as a tinderbox, and the thing lights up. He was cooking something in a deep fryer, and he put it in out of the freezer. So the water from if you put something from a freezer that's got frost on it in a deep fryer, the oil will bubble up.
It started a fire. Oh my god.
Yeah, so it spills over, hits the heating coil, and lights up a grease fire. So he gets his dogs, he gets his Xbox, and he gets the hell out of the house, right? And so the cops come, and I have the pictures of this house. The night is fucking orange, right? Like this thing is, there's the house on fire, the trees are on fire, the grass is on fire, and then about a little bit away from the house, there's a fire pit, and there's some garbage on fire in the fire pit, and there's some garbage bags burning, and so the cops come over. They say, "Hey, what's up with this garbage bags?" He says, "It's just trash. Let it burn. No big deal." So then the cop kicks it over, right, and opens it up, and there's marijuana in there that had been used, not by him, to be very clear, not by him, and he has no reason to lie to me about this. He was going to plead guilty to it anyway, and it doesn't matter, but it was used by someone he knows to make marijuana resin. But when you do that,
like no THC in it, just leftover.
you extract the THC, and then you have this leftover leafy shit, and so that's thrown away. Now, importantly, the stuff that's in these bags is green. It is not burnt. There's no singeing on it. But the cops later came in. They said they smelled marijuana, so that justified their illegal search of this
Fourth
fire.
Amendment, right?
Yeah.
Right, because he said, no, don't worry about it. That's just garbage that needs to burn. It's on his property. They have to either get a warrant or they have to get his consent to search that thing, but they didn't. And then the cops lied, and the judge came up with the plain smell rule that doesn't exist in our jurisdiction because the judge is a motherfucker. But that's a different story. That's not the story I'm telling. All these cops were convinced that this guy burned his own house down.
Oh,
and this was the crazy thing. So this fucked up the insurance claim for the family, I was hired for both the criminal aspect and I was hired to rectify the insurance claim. But all these cops are blaming this kid, saying he burned his house down intentionally, and they said he did it with a brush torch. I don't know if you guys know what a brush torch is, but you got a propane tank, and then you got this torch handle, and you walk around holding it, and you spray, and you can burn some brush. When they found the fucking brush torch, because I found the picture of it, it's buried halfway underground. It's rusted out. This thing's been sitting there for at least like a decade, right? Like it had sunk into the earth. It's exact same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clearly not used.
Before I resolved either of those cases, my client killed himself.
Oh wow!
Because of that shit. He was dealing with
Feds are probably thrilled.
Yeah, he was dealing with the fact that he had been accused of burning down his parents' house. The prospects, he thought the prospects were low that they would get any recovery because